You're not the lesson in someone else's love story. Welcome to Soft Girl Era, the sacred space where strong Black women unlearn survival, rediscover softness, and reclaim the joy, rest, and freedom they deserve without guilt, without apology, and without explanation. I'm LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French, and I'm your guide from burnout to boundaries, from doing to being, from strong to soft and loving every second of it. I recently sat down with Lavon Houston, a powerhouse voice in the world of relationships, self worth, and emotional healing. Lavon is out here changing lives, one honest conversation at a time, teaching Black women how to stop auditioning for love and start anchoring in their own worth. The work they do is nothing short of revolutionary, dismantling the toxic narratives that keep us small, stuck, and suffering in silence. Lavon is making the world a better place by giving women permission to choose themselves first. And the insights from our conversation, life changing, soul shaking, and honestly, a little uncomfortable because the truth always is. So let's get into it. Here's the thing nobody wants to say out loud. We've been taught that love means sacrifice, that loyalty means staying, that strength means enduring. And somewhere along the way, we started believing that loving someone, really loving them, meant loving them more than we love ourselves. We poured everything into relationships, friendships, situationships, thinking that if we just gave enough, stayed long enough, forgave hard enough, they'd finally see our value. But here's what Lavon Houston helped me see clearly during our interview. When you love someone more than you love yourself, you don't become their partner. You become their project, their lesson, their growth opportunity. And sis, you are not a curriculum. Let me say that again for the people in the back. You are not a curriculum. Your first fiercest love has to be you, not in a selfish, narcissistic way, but in a sacred survival depends on it way. Because when you anchor in your own self worth, you stop auditioning for people who only see you as a convenience, a fantasy, or a fixer upper. You stop bending yourself into shapes that don't fit your spirit just to keep someone comfortable. You stop making yourself smaller so they can feel bigger. And that's where the real transformation begins. Let's talk about Rihanna for a second. Global superstar, mogul, billionaire. But before all of that, she was a young Black woman in a relationship that nearly cost her everything. In 2009, the world watched as her trauma became headlines. Police photos leaked. The scrutiny was relentless. The victim blaming was vicious. And in the middle of all that noise, she had to make a choice: stay and try to fix him, or leave and choose herself. She left. And she didn't just leave quietly. She said publicly that she couldn't model staying with an abuser, especially for the young girls watching her. Think about that for a moment. Here's a woman at the height of her fame, her trauma splashed across every magazine cover, every news outlet, every gossip blog. And she's thinking about the impact of her choices on other women. That's the kind of radical self worth Lavon Houston talks about. The kind that says, I refuse to let my pain become someone else's permission to stay in harm's way. Rihanna redirected all that energy she'd been pouring into a broken relationship and built an empire. Fenty Beauty, Savage X. Fenty, a brand rooted in inclusivity, confidence, and self ownership. She became one of the youngest self made female billionaires in the world, not by staying small, but by choosing herself first. She proved that loving yourself more than the relationship can literally save your life and unlock your full brilliance. And here's the part that hits different for Black women. We've been sold this ride or die narrative our whole lives. Stand by your man, hold him down, be his peace, his rib, his backbone. But nobody ever asks who's holding you, who's protecting your peace, who's making sure you're not bleeding out while you're busy being strong. Rihanna's story is a masterclass in what happens when you finally ask yourself the question that changes everything. Do I love them more than I love me? And when the answer is yes, do you have the courage to walk away, even when it's messy, public, and expensive, because you know your peace is priceless? Boundaries are not walls, they're self respect in action. That's another gem from my conversation with Lavon Houston. Saying no, walking away, refusing to shrink, these aren't acts of cruelty. They're acts of self preservation. They're how you keep from turning your life into a lesson for someone else's growth. Let me take you to another story. Tina Turner, the queen, the legend, the woman who literally walked away from everything to save herself. For years, she endured severe physical, emotional, and financial abuse in her marriage and professional partnership with Ike Turner. She was famous, yes. She was talented, yes. But she was also trapped. And when she finally left, she left with almost nothing: no money, no certainty, just a belief that her life was worth more than what she was enduring. Think about what that must have felt like. You're one of the most recognizable voices in the world, and you're running from a man who's supposed to love you with 36 cents in a gas card. You're starting over at an age when the industry says you're past your prime. You're a Black woman in an industry that already doesn't value you. And yet, you choose you. Tina rebuilt from the ground up, toured relentlessly, reinvented her sound, became a global rock icon, won Grammys, sold over 100 million records, and more than that, she reclaimed her name, her image, her narrative. She proved that Black women can completely rewrite their story, even after decades in an oppressive dynamic. Tina's turning point came when she asked herself one question: do I love him more than I love me? And when the answer was finally no, she walked. That question is the one Lavon Houston wants every woman listening to this to ask herself today. In every relationship, every friendship, every connection where you're giving more than you're receiving, do I love them more than I love me? If the answer is yes, something has to change. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but what about loyalty? What about commitment? What about working through hard times? And listen, I'm not saying relationships don't require effort, but there's a difference between working through hard times together and being the only one doing the work. There's a difference between commitment and captivity. There's a difference between love and a lesson you didn't sign up for. Healing is the glow up. That's the third major insight from my interview with Lavon Houston. Do the inner work before you give someone access to your heart, your body, or your brand. Therapy, community, self investment, these are how you protect yourself from repeating the same painful patterns in love and relationships. Let's bring it current. Megan Thee Stallion, Grammy winning rapper, cultural force, hot girl coach. In 2020, she was shot by someone in her own circle. And then instead of being believed, she was mocked, gaslit, turned into a punchline. Even other celebrities joined in. The culture that claims to love Black women showed her exactly how expendable our pain is. But Megan chose herself anyway. She spoke her truth publicly, even when it made her a target. She prioritized therapy, boundaries, and rest. She talked openly about depression and the need for mental health support. And she kept creating, kept winning, kept building. In 2022, Tory Lanez was convicted, affirming her testimony and challenging the narrative that Black women's pain is negotiable. Megan's story is a reminder that if you love others more than you love yourself, you will keep quiet while you are being harmed. You will protect people who hurt you. You will shrink to make space for their comfort. Insist that's not love. That's survival mode dressed up as loyalty. Think about the pressure she was under, The internal conflict of protecting a Black man from the criminal justice system versus protecting herself and honoring her own truth. That's the weight Black women carry every single day. We're expected to be strong for everyone else, to hold everyone else up, to sacrifice our own safety and sanity for the sake of the collective. And when we finally choose ourselves, we're called selfish, difficult, too much. But Megan showed us a different way. She showed us that you don't have to protect people who hurt you, even if they look like you or share your culture. She showed us that speaking your truth, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it costs you, is an act of radical self love. So, what does this mean for you? What does it mean to love yourself first? In a world that taught you survival, it means auditing your relationships. Take one evening this week and write down the top 5 people you give your time, body, money, or energy to. For each name, ask yourself, do I love them more than I love me in this connection? If the answer is yes, something has to change. Not tomorrow, not next month, now. It means setting one hard boundary, choose one place where you've been overgiving, texting back late at night when you're exhausted, tolerating disrespect because you don't want to seem difficult, subsidizing someone's lifestyle while your own needs go unmet, accepting inconsistent behavior because you're afraid of being alone. Pick one. Set a clear, non negotiable boundary around it and hold it. It means investing in your self worth. Commit to one concrete act of self investment this month: therapy, coaching, a support group, a personal development book, a course, something that is there's about you, not about attracting or fixing someone else. Something that says, I am worth the work. Because here's the truth Lavon Houston reminded me of during our interview. When you finally choose yourself, some people will call you selfish. Some will say you've changed. Some will walk away. And that's okay, because the people who are meant to stay will respect your boundaries. They'll celebrate your healing. They'll love the version of you that's whole, not the version that's convenient. Rihanna didn't become a billionaire by staying small. Tina didn't become a legend by staying silent. Megan didn't become an advocate by staying quiet. They became who they are by choosing themselves first, by loving themselves more, by refusing to be the lesson in someone else's story, and you can too. So, here's what I need you to hear today. You are not here to be someone's growth opportunity. You are not here to teach people how to love you by breaking yourself open. You are not here to shrink, sacrifice, or suffer so someone else can learn. You are here to live fully, love deeply, and protect your peace fiercely. And that starts with you choosing you. Right now, I want you to make a decision, not tomorrow, not when the timing is perfect, not when you figured it all out. Right now, choose one relationship, one connection, one place where you've been loving someone more than you love yourself, and commit to changing it. Set the boundary, have the conversation, walk away if you need to, do whatever it takes to reclaim your peace, because your life depends on it. Your joy depends on it. Your future depends on it. You are not the lesson in someone else's love story. You are the author of your own. And it's time to write a new chapter, one where you are the priority, the protagonist, the person who finally gets chosen. Now go love yourself like your life depends on it, because it does.